It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce held its annual Eggs and Issues breakfast this past Thursday at AT College. Wayne County local representatives are on hand to give a preview of what they expect to take place in Atlanta during the legislative session. As today the session gets underway, as the new members will be sworn in. They'll adjourn quickly as several members, including the governor, are on their way to L.A. to support the Dogs tonight in the national championship game. WIFO-FM talked with all three men on the panel this past Thursday, including State Senator Blake Tillery, who's one of the few that oversee the state budget. Tillery explained that 70% of the state's budget is taken up in two categories: education, 54% of the state budget, 23% health care. Not much money left for other agencies. Here was our discussion with State Senator Blake Tillery this past Thursday.
You fund the rest of government on what's left, but it's been that way now for probably the better part of a decade. So that really is where the state's priorities are. They're on education and they're on health care.
What are other issues that a lot of people here are concerned about? Mental health issues. As you mentioned, it's all about staffing. It's like people have businesses; they can't get people to work these days.
Right. We're not really having a building issue. We're not even having a dollar issue. Our issue is people, and it's practitioners, whether it be in mental health or it be we're even having that issue now in the judicial branch for assistant district attorneys and public defenders. So who would have ever thought you'd think that'd be a shortage of lawyers? I don't think anyone ever thought that, but we're actually even seeing it there. Our workforce changes since COVID are significant. We're really seeing a lot of people who went to work at home. They're not going back to their old traditional jobs. They've developed and moved into something new. And how the state, along with other employers, adapts to that is really the biggest question for the next 4 to 5 years.
There'll be an interesting session because, as we mentioned, you got a new lieutenant governor, new House Speaker for the first time in many years. So how do you see that playing out?
Lieutenant Governor Jones, I think, is going to be strong. He's solidified his stance with the Senate, and he had a lot of relationships there. I'm sure he's going to do really, really well. And then the Speaker-elect Burns, being a Southeast Georgia guy, is obviously strong for our community. I know he'll have that at the forefront of his mind as we're making decisions. Really has seen a huge power shift towards South and Southeast Georgia over the past few years. I think that bodes well for our communities.
One topic discussed today was legalized gambling. All the representatives said they're not in favor of it. As you mentioned, there's three angles to this. There's like the FanDuel, and there's horse racing, and there's legalized casinos, things like that. So you don't think any of those will pass?
I think the common consensus seems to be that casinos probably wouldn't pass, that horse racing probably wouldn't pass, that if anything passes, it would be on the sports betting forefront. I've had some calls from our district where folks who are for it, but I've had a whole lot more folks who are against it. So that's where I think our local votes will be. I don't know how the legislature as a whole will go.
And the question is, if it does pass, that money that comes in, where would it go? Would it go to the lottery? Would it go to funding education? Would it go to health care? Where would the money go?
Depends on the bill as it's drafted. So as you heard Representative Meeks speak about, and Representative Deloach, that sometimes folks will use funding streams to try to bring over a few more votes if they can find the pet project or the need project for that representative or senator. So it's all how that bill's drafted. If it's not drafted in a specific way, it goes to the general fund.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk to you on Tuesdays with Tillery again, so we'll look forward to that, and stay safe in Atlanta.
Thank you for allowing me to do it.
And once again, those comments, State Senator Blake Tillery. Tomorrow we'll hear from our new representative, Buddy Deloach. Again, we'll be talking with our representatives on the World Famous Butch and Bob Show. Next week, Mondays with State Representative Stephen Meeks, Tuesdays with State Senator Blake Tillery, and Buddy Deloach will join us on Wednesday mornings, all during the legislative session. And the session gets underway today in Atlanta. The swearing in 53 new representatives and senators, more than one-fifth of the total of 236 lawmakers, are brand new to the legislative session. State Representative John Burns will succeed David Ralston as House Speaker, and new elected Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones will officially be sworn in as well. Budget always the big item. This year's state budget is $33 billion. The session, 40 business days, generally lasts until late March or early April. We'll be back with more news after this word from our sponsor, other commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Wayne County Schools back in session day. All faculty and staff and students back under one roof at James E. Bacon Elementary, which is still under construction, but the classrooms are ready. Principal Jamie Ellis on the Butch and Bob Show last week with all the details of how things are progressing. Again, today marks the first day everyone's back under one roof at James E. Bacon Elementary since the beginning of the school year. Wayne County Board of Education meets tomorrow at 6 p.m. for a work session at the Tech Center. On the agenda, they'll have the election of their chairman and vice chairman, COVID update, capital outlay project update. Also on the agenda, Board of Education professional development, Board of Education norms and protocols, Board of Education code of ethics, financial workshop discussion. You have the finance report for November of 2022, East Boston information executive session. All that tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Tech Center. Wayne County Commissioners set to meet this Wednesday, January the 11th. Again, they've already elected their chairman and vice chairman for the year. On the agenda is a presentation of the 2021 audit by Cale Harris. Under old business, consider approved modification repairs to J.C. Hutt. Consider approved grievance committee, county appointed elected officials. Consider approved engineering services agreement for Sunset Boulevard improvements. Consider approved health insurance renewal. Consider approved election board through legislation. Consider approved term limits for commissioners through legislation. Also appoint 2 commissioners to meet with the Public Facilities Authority. Several board appointments on the agenda. County commissioners items, executive session. Again, one item missing from the agenda is items with the administrator, and that's not on Wednesday's agenda. Wayne County Industrial Development Authority will hold its regularly scheduled monthly meeting on Tuesday, January 10th at 8 a.m. It'll be held at the IDA's office located at 261 West Plum Street in Jesup. We'll be back with a final news note after this word from our sponsor and the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final note in news, the Savannah Mall is closing this week. Again, the official day of the closing will be Thursday, January 12th. Stores on the exterior, such as Target, Bass Pro Shop, and dealers will remain open. BCHM Investments owns the property and states something new will be coming into the building, but they haven't stated what will be coming into the building at this time. Again, the tenants of the mall said they were given just a 30-day notice, but some businesses were given to the end of February to be cleared out. Again, the Savannah Mall closing officially this Thursday, January the 12th. That's going to do it for the latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.